Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be learning about disjoint and overlapping events, and you will be able to do 5.4. Today students will be able to find probabilities of compound events. And so let's look at some vocabulary first. The first word is disjoint. It's when two events have no outcomes in common. For example, in here, if we roll a six-sided die, in here, in this circle, we're going to put even numbers. And on the other one, we're going to put odd numbers. As you know, even numbers and odd numbers don't have anything that will overlap. So that's why it's called disjoint. And so in here, we would have the 2, the 4, the 6. The odd numbers will be 1, 3, 5. So as you can see, nothing is the same. Sometimes this, in fact, is represented by two circles that don't overlap at all. Okay, instead of overlapping them and having it empty, they just put two circles. Overlapping is when two events have at least one outcome in common. For example, odd numbers. Well, odd numbers, we said that it's 1, 3, 5. And then numbers bigger than 3. That does not include the 3, 4, 5, 6. We can see that 5 repeats in both the odd numbers and numbers bigger than 3. So what do we have to do in that case? Those overlap. We erase them and put it right here in the section where the two circles of the Venn diagram overlap. So overlapping in this case is 5. Belongs to both groups. We are going to need this once we look at the formulas, so to see how that relates. So these are the formulas. If A and B are any two events, use this formula, which is the probability that event A or event B happen is equals to the probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of the overlap, which is the probability of event A and event B happening. And if A and B are disjoint events, then use probability of event A or event B equals the probability of event A plus the probability of event B. And so let me bring those examples again. So let's start with the last one. It says that for disjoint events, so that will be the first example that we had here. All you have to do is for the probability of A or B, you just add both of them. And in here, basically it will mean that you just include this set of numbers plus this set of numbers. Probability of getting an even number. Or, so the word or can also be represented by this symbol, okay? B would be odd numbers. Well, you just add the probability of A, it's even numbers, right? Plus the probability of B, which is the odd numbers. So in that list, you would just include the 2, the 4, the 6, plus the 1. So this 3 are from here, and then this one will be the 1, 3, and 5. This is the set of numbers that belong to the probability of even or odd. We can also represent it as, well, there are 3 out of the 6, which is 1/2, plus 3 out of 6. And since it's a common denominator, we just put the 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. Which is equals to 1, which is 100%. And it kind of makes sense because all the 6 numbers are included within these two sections, okay? Now, one thing that before I continue with the other one, one thing that we need to understand is that when we say or in probability, it doesn't mean like when you go and you have two options, oh, do you prefer this or that? In math, it's a little bit different. It's more like if you choose this group or this group, then you have more chances because you're including both of them to be able to win. In real life, what you're given is the option, okay, you choose this or that. If you go to a fancy dinner, do you prefer a steak or do you prefer chicken or even fish? You know, you have one or the other. As in here, when we say or, is you can win with this or with that one. So you have more possibilities, more options. Okay, now let's go to explaining the other formula. So when we have overlapping, and I'm going to rewrite the formula down here so I can have more space. The probability of event A or event B happening is equals to the probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of event A, and notice that in here we have or and probability of event. So A and B happening, meaning that that's the part where they overlap. So let's go back to this example. So what is the probability that I will win by choosing event A or event B? It just means, oh, the probability of event A. Event A represents the entire circle. So it's 1, 3, and 5. Those are the numbers that are in that set. Plus, event B represents the entire circle, which is 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, 6, minus the probability of the overlap, meaning where the two events happen, A and B. So that will be number 5. What that means is that you're taking the 5 away, and the reason is because it's in both groups, and you don't want to count that one twice. So by subtracting the 5, you end up with only 1 5. So it's just 1, 3, 5, 4, and 6. And you can even put it in order, but by subtracting one of those two 5s, then you end up with what it's going to allow you to win by choosing that or that. Mathematically, that will be presented by 3/6. So 3 out of the 6 numbers in a die are odd numbers, plus 3 out of the 6 numbers are bigger than 3 or greater than 3. But then you're going to subtract the one that overlaps, that are both in event A and event B, which is -5. It's only 1 out of the 6. That is 3 plus 3 is 6, minus 1 gives us 5. 6 chances of winning with those two options. And so 5 divided by 6 is equal to 0.8333333 forever. I usually use to the thousands, and then if it repeats, I put on a line, which is equals to about 83.3%. Now in here it says, and I'm missing some information, but I'll share that with you. So it says you go to a nursery to buy either a tree that grows fruit or a tall tree to give you shade. Of 20 trees, so we can start underlining information. Of 20 trees, 13 trees grow tall, 12 trees grow fruit, and 6 are both tall and grow fruit. What is the probability that you get a tree that grows tall or grows fruit? Again, you want those two choices, whatever comes, you will be happy with. And let's just pretend that you're sending somebody and you forgot to tell them, and what are the probability that you will get what you want? And you want either a tree that grows tall or grows fruit, okay? And if you get both, well, even better. So, what is the probability of event A happening? Well, what is that? That will be that the tree is tall, okay? The probability of it being tall will be 13 out of the 20. What is the probability of it growing fruit? Well, it says that 12 trees grow fruit, so 12 out of 20. Then sometimes people get confused. Oh, 13 plus 12, that's 25. Remember that 6 of those are both tall and grow fruit. That means that those are overlapping. So that's what this would look like. It's like when we raise the 5, we have 13 in all this circle, but we raise some of those and put them in here because the probability of both A and B, meaning being tall and having fruit, is 6 of them. 6 out of 20. That means that out of these 13, 6 go here and the rest are here. So in reality, in this section, it will be the 7. Event B is 12. So you would put 12 in here, but that includes the entire circle, including those 6 that they describe in here. So in reality, this will be 6. So for the formula, it's probability of event A, or just let's put tall, or you have fruit, is equals to probability of it being tall plus probability of it getting fruit or giving fruit minus the probability of both tall and fruit. Sorry that it's a little crowded. Okay, tall and fruit. Remember that this is and this is or. Okay. So when we are using this information, it's including the entire circle, the 7 plus 6, which is 13 trees. So probability of tall is 13 out of 20, plus probability of getting a tree that has fruit is 12 out of 20, minus the probability that it's both tall and grows fruit will be 6 over 20. 13 plus 12 is 25. 25 minus 6 is 19. 19 out of the 20 will either be tall or give you fruit. When we divide 19 divided by 20, it's 0.95. 0.95, which is equals to 95%. We always move this decimal 2 spaces to the right. Even if there is no number in here, we would move it 2 spaces, always 2 spaces, okay? So there is 95% chances that I will get the tree that I want, but there is 5% that I might not get the tree that I want, okay? For the next one, the first thing, well, it says in a deck of 52 cards, and I'll show you what, this is what they look like. You have a king, a queen, a jack, and then you have numbers 1 through 10. Well, the number 1 is called an ace, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 1 to 10, plus 3 more is 13. So that's 13 for this one. This is called clubs. Then you also have this one. This one is not in order, but you also have the same amount of cards for the spades. Then we have the same amount and same type of cards for hearts. And notice how these are a different color. Okay. So you have these 2 groups: clubs, spades, hearts. And then you have diamonds. Also, the same number of cards and the same figures. You have A's, you have a 2, a 3, a 4, all the way to 10. And then for all of them, you have a jack, a queen, and a king. And these 3 are also considered, because it's the only ones that have a face, they are called face cards. Okay, the other ones don't have a face, they just have the shapes. And you have the ace. Okay, having that in mind, and knowing that each one has 13, and the total with all 4 groups of cards, you have 52. Okay, so the deck has 52 cards. Notice how half of them are black and half of them are red. So that's also important to know. And then you have 3 face cards in each group. So how many is that? Okay, So having that in mind now, let's see. What is the probability that you get a red card or a face card? Okay, so we said that red cards, there are two groups, which is the hearts and diamonds, right? You have a total of 13 plus 13, that's 26. So the probability of a red card, is 26 out of 52. And I like to set the information on the side so that we have a better idea. The probability of a face card, well, how many cards are face cards? We said that there are 3 in each group and there are 4 groups. So 3 times 4 is 12 face cards out of the 52. Do any of them overlap? Yeah, because you have 3 in this group, these 3 right here, okay, and 3 in the diamonds group. So that means that there are in the red and a face card, okay, that have both characteristics. They are red and have a face. It's 6 of them, 3 in each of the red groups. So that's 6 out of 52. So when we have overlapping, that means that we're going to use the formula. The probability of event A or event B happening is equals to probability of event A plus the probability of event B minus the probability of both event A and event B happening, meaning the overlapping. So event A, 26 out of 52, plus event B is 12 over 52, minus the overlapping, which is 6 over 52. 26 plus 12, that's 38. 38 minus 6 is 32 over 52. We can simplify, so we can see that both are divisible by 4. 32 is divided by 4 and we get 8. And 52 divided by 4 is 13. Then we divide 8 divided by 13. It's 0.615. I always round it to the thousands just so that I can get 1 decimal when we do the percent. So we always move it 2 spaces, is 61.5%. And so that's the chances that I get to win by betting to a red or a face card. Okay. Okay, for the next one, it says the probability that you get a card less than 5 or a 10. So what is the probability that you will get a card that is less than 5? Well, in any of the figures, you can get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. The 5 is not included because it says less than 5, not included, not equal to 5. Okay, so that's not included. And all of the other ones, the value will be greater than 5. So in each one of the 4 figures, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that are greater than 5. But since there are 4 figures, you get 4 in the clubs, 4 in the spades, 4 for the diamonds, and 4 for the hearts. That's a total of 16 out of the entire deck. What is the probability that you get a 10? Well, we only have 1 10 in each one of the figures. Only 1 10. So we get 1 for each figure. That's going to be a total of 4 of them. Okay, so 4 out of the 52. And what overlaps? Well, 10 is exactly 10. A card that is less than 5, 10 is not less than 5, so there is no way that they're going to overlap. That's when you don't have to subtract anything. We will just use the formula probability of event A or event B happening is equals to probability of event A plus probability of event B. What is the probability of event A? That's 16 out of 52. What is the probability of event B? That's 4 out of 52. We add them. 16 plus 4 is 20 over 52. Is 20 divisible by 4? Yes, so that means that we're going to divide by 4 to simplify. And so 20 divided by 4 is 5. 52 divided by 4 is 13. We use our calculator to divide by 5 divided by 13. That's equals to 0.38. Since we have a 4 in the thousands, but this is 5 or more, so that will round up to 5. We move it to spaces, and that's 38.5%. So that's our answer. So if you bet to getting a car less than 5 or a 10, that's the probability that you will get to win. Okay, number 4 says you throw a coin on a game board. What is the probability it falls on pink or blue? When it says the word or, that's a key. Okay, that's key to us. And so probability of getting the coin on pink, well, how many little squares are pink? So it's 1, 2, 3. It's 3 out of, well, this game board has 4 times 4 squares is 16. So 3 out of 16. What is the probability that you get the coin on a blue square? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 16. And there is no such thing as overlapping for pink and blue, right? So the formula that we're going to use is probability of event A or event B happening. Also, you can put probability of getting a pink or a blue. Instead of A and B, you can put pink, blue in here. Will be the addition of them. Probability of event A plus probability of event B. There's no overlapping, so we don't need to subtract anything. Probability of event A is 3 over 16 plus probability of event B, or getting a blue, is 5 over 16. We add 3 plus 5 is 8. Bring over the 16. Now, something that I tell everyone is that whenever the number in the numerator is exactly half of the denominator, when you simplify, the answer will always be 1/2. Why? Well, both are divisible by 8. And so 8 divided by 8 is 1. 16 divided by 8 is 2. But again, if you have 500 over 1,000 is exactly 1/2, then when you simplify it, it will be 1/2. 1 divided by 2 is always 0.5. That's something that we should memorize. A couple of fractions that I recommend memorizing is 1/2, 1/4, 3/4, and even 1/3 and 2/3 is helpful to have those in mind, okay? Remember I said always move the decimal space remember I said always move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right to make it into a percent. When there is nothing in here, there is no number that like in the other ones, we fill that little loop or that little, I say columpio, okay, fill it up with a 0. Okay, so that means that that's equals to 50%. And so that's the chances that I get to win with, I say, oh, I would like to bet to either pink or blue. With this, we end our lesson. If you can please support the channel by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing around here. Here you will find the link to the next lesson, and here you will find the link to the entire unit on different types of probability. Now you're able to do 5.4 and have fun.